Whether you're a teen or 30-something, we see too much sucker shit going on in the world. Not enough of us are sharing the script to help us all do better for ourselves. Enjoy this unfiltered, no bullshit game about how to survive and thrive in your Black awesomeness. Come through, listen, and think with the Queen.
So thank you, Kateria, so much for joining me today. I wanted to have this podcast because I definitely want my audience to just know how important it is to learn about yourself and how you can make that information really help you live your life to the best you possibly can. So first, if you could tell us a little bit about you as far as, you know, your beginnings, if you could, just briefly, because I know you have you probably told that story many times.
Sure, not a problem, not a problem. My name is Kateria. I go by Kateriaknows. My new name actually is Kateria Royal. I'm recently married. I am a mother. I am on the side of the spiritual warfare for goodness, helping our people to find their purpose and to understand the true government is the voice of the Most High, which could be founded in one of its modalities, astrology. And I'm here to be a beacon of light during this age of Aquarius. I have been studying astrology for over 25 years now. And when I first started studying it, it was because I thought that I was an extremely different and unique person. I felt like that as a child. And I met a friend. I was 11 years old. I met this girl who told me that there was a science that could tell me all about my personality. And I didn't believe her because I thought that I was so weird, so different, and no one was like me. Come to find out, I'm an Aquarius, the strange eccentric sign of the zodiac, and there's a bunch of us. And so when I read about my sign and others' signs, I became completely intrigued, flabbergasted, and obsessed with the science. And naturally, over the years, I accumulated so much knowledge of the science that being an astrologer just kind of fell in my lap. It was not something that I had set forth to do because I had found out at an early age in my teens that astrologers don't make a living wage, which proved to be false. But yeah, that's a gist on me. I've been doing it professionally for over 10 years now, and just helping people to become one with their themselves, one with their life purpose, understand the times that they are in. And I've been utilizing it a lot more over the past few years in a way that I allow myself to be directed by it rather than just reading it for entertainment purposes as I was told to do in my teen years.
Mhm. Got it. Got it. Do you think, and part of me feels like we're like told that because they don't want us to know. Like,
Yeah,
they just want
absolutely.
to spread the myth, like, oh, you can't do anything with this, it is only for entertainment purposes. And,
Mhm.
even though it holds so many secrets, so much stuff that we need
Right.
to know, right?
Hmm.
Exactly. Okay. Okay. So you already shared the answer to my first question, which would have been, what is your earliest memory, like how you got connected with astrology? Um, what age do you think is a good age for people to start learning about their astrology?
People should start learning their astrological placement early. I mean, I was talking about astrology and my children's astrology before they could communicate.
Mhm.
And I also have been raising my children based upon their astrology chart since they were children. And astrology is so in sync with you as a person. It's not that your birth chart comes when you're 5, it comes when you're born. So that's something that you should be noted upon as early as possible. I do readings for babies, for infants, for people, and the readings help them to understand their child a lot more and to help them to understand the things that their child may have some roadblocks in so that they can learn about those concepts early on.
Wow.
And now, as far as a child speaking to an astrologer or having an astrology book or knowing that their astrology themselves, like knowing their chart themselves, as soon as they're able to comprehend any subject. I would say if they're comprehending mathematics, reading and all of that, they should be knowing about themselves. I mean, we should know about ourselves before we know about anyone else or anything else.
Right. Definitely. Definitely. So one of the questions that I ask all of my guests is, in your life, what would you say is one piece of universal wisdom that has stood the test of time, that you've always like reflected back on, that's gotten you through your darkest times, and who gave you that wisdom?
It wasn't, well, I would say what I learned from my mother at a young age was that there's a loophole in everything. I don't remember how old I was. I was likely in my early teens. She told me there's a loophole in everything. And I utilize that when I'm dealing with difficult situations. I'm like, okay, well, there's a loophole in everything. No matter what I'm dealing with, how can I find an exit strategy? But what is my favorite piece of wisdom that gets me out of things and helps me get through things, because I feel like the loophole and everything, it kind of gives me like an easy way out, but doesn't allow me to do enough work on myself to grow and evolve. So that bit of wisdom would be that everything that is happening in my external world is a reflection of what's going on within me internally. And so if there are things in my life that I don't like, I tend to reflect upon myself and what I am learning. And the more that I do that, the more I'm growing. And that strengthens my vibrational frequency, which allows for me to attract or magnetize more situations, people, circumstances that I actually desire to experience. But I don't take a negative experience and like get so beaten down by it. I take it as, oh, okay, so this is an opportunity for growth and learning. This is showing me that there's still some healing within myself. There's work to do in this particular area to improve my situation, because I do understand as human beings, we are here to grow and evolve and to understand the importance of love from a cosmic perspective, not just the romantic one, but from a cosmic perspective. And we're going to be given situations that help us to grow and evolve and to understand what love is.
Awesome. Where did you gain that insight?
I gained the insight on that second piece of wisdom that I mentioned. The first piece about the loophole and everything was from my mother. The second piece was about understanding that everything that is happening from the outside world is a reflection of what's happening within me. I learned that from Craft Unity Center of African Spiritual Science. One of the elder women there, I don't recall who it was, but one of the elder women there was stating that, and it was a significant concept that the late great Reverend Mary Ka would preach.
Okay. Okay. I think that I definitely think that's important, because it one of the things that I've always that I've held on to is, as above, so below, as within, so without, that type of thing. And I'm trying to understand that more and really connect with that in this now part of my life. So I can definitely relate to that wisdom for sure. Okay, so I was one of the participants in your Conquer Your Demons webinar that you recently had, which was awesome. Got some really great notes. So I one of the things that you mentioned, well, one of the cool things that I think you did during that is where you took, the, I guess you could say, like the shadow, the dark, or I don't know if I find it hard to say whether or not it's negative, because it seems like there's a balance, there's a duality, so we kind of need these things, but the dark, more negative side of things, and how you translated that into the positive, like you gave it and then its opposite, and that was something that I found difficult, like, to do on my own, to figure out what is the opposite of lust, what is the opposite of, um, feeling or procrastination or things like that. And one of the ones that you talked about was lust. Um, and just, even though, they should have took the webinar and they should get it when you release it. Again, can you kind of describe what you meant by these demons and in the terms of lust, like your explanation for that?
Yeah, yeah. And the webinar is available for purchase if they want to reach out to me via Instagram or my website and ask for the webinar. They can purchase it. It is $30 for the replay now. Yet, what I was mentioning, we're talking about different darker energies that dwell within us. And when we hold on to these darker energies, they become demonic forces in our life. And demonic forces, they make you do quote unquote bad things. They sabotage you in one way or another. They create some form of havoc in your life. And we have many different types of demons, and one of them is lust. And when we have the demon of lust, usually that's acquired through some type of a sexual deviance, being molested or raped, being exposed to sex at an early age. Some people acquire it by seeking validation from other people or taking power from other people. There's many reasons why people will acquire the lust. Some people even acquire it because they use it as a form of escaping their reality, like they distract themselves with sex. So when you hold on to this demon of lust, and it's important to understand that all the things that we do, all things in this life has a vibrational frequency, and the demon frequency of obesity, shame, guilt, lust, anger, all of those things, they are on the negative spectrum of frequency. And whatever frequency you jump on, it's like a channel, like you're listening to a radio station. And it's just going to continue to take you down the list of songs that they're going to play on that radio station. So when you are holding on to the demon of lust, you're tapped into that radio frequency, and now it's going to continue to carry you through all the songs it has to play. Well, the demon of lust will take you through heartbreak. It will take you through diseases. It will take you through being drained, tired, and feeling powerless. It can take you on the path of feeling powerful because you're taking energy from others, which will then turn around on you where you'll have a major collapse, whether that's with your resources, finances, your reputation. Something will happen. It could lead you to some serious, even deadly diseases. It can lead you to unwanted pregnancies or child support for men. family drama and issues, breakups, divorces, and you could even acquire karmic lessons in regards to betrayal and loss of love and all of these other types of things. So you want to know what channel you are on in your life so you can know what songs are going to be played.
Gotcha. Now, and when, and with that said, and I most of the things that you said that of how that particular demon shows up, in people's lives, I've experienced myself. Most recently, I was a former child support enforcement specialist. So for almost the last decade, I was the person that searched, enforced, hunted down people in regards to child support, and basically told them what they needed to do, how they could manage their cases. So I've come across a lot of families, a lot of people that, once I hear, what's going on with them, and they, because they end up having to tell me background, I'm the one that ends up absorbing that because, the powers that be, they don't really care.
Right.
They're just all about profiting off of this dysfunction, which is why you don't really see any real solutions. But when I'm hearing, this, it I always want to be able to tell them, okay, well, this is here's a solution to how you can start to make that change. But again, in some of this, I don't know what that exact solution is because as of yet, I'm not a parent. I only have my experience of witnessing, being that middle person that witnesses both sides and see these two people that are hurting and this innocent child that's in the middle. And I wanted to ask you, how do you suggest people deal with this when their darker lust energy ends up creating this kind of manifesting itself this way in people's lives? Like, what would be your suggestion on how they can kind of wrangle that in? Because does it go away? Like, you kind of have to learn how to manage it, right?
Yeah, when it comes to lust, when it comes to all of our demons, they're not things that we easily release. They're always a part of you, but they're kind of like having pets or animals in your house. You don't let them get on your bed or sit on the kitchen counter. You don't let them bite your friends when they come around, and you manage them. You make sure you feed them necessarily so that they won't just attack you when you're sleeping and bite your face off because they haven't been fed. So your demons, you do have to learn how to work with them and where to properly feed them and to control them so that they won't get out of control, so they won't get out of hand. I am a person that has suffered from and with the demon of lust myself for quite a bit of time. And the way that I got control over it is first by recognizing and understanding that I had it. And then I worked on having a greater sense of self-worth so that I wasn't trying to find validation of who I am by showing off my good cooter skills and fellatio skills or what have you. And so that's how my demon of lust really came about. I was raped. I've been molested and all of those things. And so I had just the natural sex demon where I was one of those young girls. Instead of being repelled by sex, I wanted it. I wanted more of it because it felt good, even when I was molested. And I also became detached from my physical body. So I ended up, another thing that happens with lust that I did not mention is abortions. Well, I said the unwanted pregnancies, but that could lead to abortions, miscarriages, and that could create health issues in that area, cancers, and all kinds of other things in that area. And so I became detached from my body, having been raped several times. And so it was nothing for me to have an abortion. And I was detached, so I would easily sleep with someone. I was very promiscuous growing up, and I did run into an STD. I did end up in a relationship, but I didn't have necessarily an unwanted pregnancy. My daughter was planned, but my relationship with her father was still driven by lust. We were not very compatible. And if I didn't have the demon of lust, we would have taken more time to get to know each other, to recognize that we weren't compatible, so that we could have pushed on and have relations with people who we were compatible with, in having a stronger, healthier family. Mm-hmm. And so for people that end up with lust, I'll state how I came to control it was recognizing that it was an issue and it was causing a lot of havoc in my life. And then I started to develop a greater sense of self-worth and validate myself beyond my sexual ability. And then and it was not easy. It was actually extremely, extremely difficult. But I saw how much turmoil it was bringing into my life, that I did whatever I could to muster up that discipline in that area. And then I shifted. I saw a lot of heartbreak, the friends with benefits situation and one night stands. Like, you release the oxytocin, there are some feelings that come about, but now this connection is not worthy, so on and so forth. And now you're left with that hurt. I got tired of that cycle. So I would only connect in a committed relationship. And then I realized that that wasn't enough either. I decided that I was only going to be intimate if I was engaged in or married. And I'm married now. And my husband and we didn't engage in any sexual acts until well after being engaged. Mm-hmm. But really didn't fully allow that to be a part of our relationship until after we were married. We just kind of got a chance to explore each other and see the compatibility in that area before marriage, during our engagement. So that certainly took care of that demon for me in that way, so I could feed it healthily. But when I was even single, I would feed it through masturbation and things like that, not necessarily watching porn, but through my own forms of masturbation. And I would just take my time to get to know people. I took my time to get to know my husband, let him get to know me and all of that. I've been knowing him for 5 years. We were talking for a few months before we decided to become engaged to one another, but been knowing each other for quite some time. And then now when it comes to people dealing with child support, it's important that they take the accountability for what they have done or what their demon has dragged them into, and start to recognize their worth, because child support really only affects people who deal with financial woes and discrepancies. But if they are, even people that make a considerable amount of money, they still end up having to pay out child support and all of that. Yet child support comes into people when they are also learning financial discipline too. And it's important for us to get this information out there to young men and young women before they're out there being sexually promiscuous and things of sorts. But I've noticed that child support in itself has a negative spirit of its own. And a lot of people that really suffer and struggle with child support, they have their own feelings of unworthiness. Like even though lust leads to child support, having and dealing with child support comes from dealing with issues of either greed or a poverty-stricken state of mind. Mm-hmm. And when they could face those demons and energies within themselves, they will get a better grip and handle on their circumstance in regards to dealing with child support.
Okay, I can definitely, I can definitely agree with that. I think also there's also a lot that goes on behind child support, and how it even gets initiated also goes back to, I guess it would be vengeance. It goes back to
Mm-hmm.
that wanting to punish for whatever.
Right.
And I find a lot of times, it's because these people they don't have this awareness of themselves, of their demons, of how it's affecting them, that they are on that channel, like you said, and that channel is playing the songs of, yes, we're going to go report him to child support, and we want him to
Mm-hmm.
get locked up and not be able to see his kid, and keep the child
Mm-hmm.
away. Or on the flip side,
Yeah. And
we
that's on the side of it's usually women who put men on child support. They're dealing with demons of revenge and power struggles and control issues. And men need to recognize, like, if they tame their own demon of lust, they're not going to get with these succubus types of women.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And then, on the male side, a lot of it, I think, is, I guess in there, sometimes I come across people that are like, they had all the best intentions, but, they, realized at some point that this wasn't the right person for them. And,
Mm-hmm.
then, how do you get out? They don't know how to get out without, and still maintain that, cohesiveness enough to be able to be there for the child. It's like the romantic part always ends up overriding the parenting part in a lot of these situations.
Definitely.
So okay. So, and just so I could be as thorough as possible, because I think it's really important that we know how to work on our self-worth and our self-value, because that I feel like that may be like one of the primary
Mm-hmm.
things that end up leading to almost like a, what do they call it, where you do one drug and then you graduate to other drugs, like,
Oh, the gateway.
yeah, I always feel like having a lack of self-worth and self-value kind of leads you into having other darker energies overcome your
Mm-hmm.
life.
Yep.
So what would, if any, just one tip on how you would tell somebody to work on their self-worth and self-value, what would it be?
Well, I would tell people to learn themselves, learn who they are.
Mhm.
And there's different ways to learn about yourself. Of course, I am an advocate for astrology. It's how I've been able to learn so much about myself. And even there are so many other modalities, cardology. They could get tarot readings, they can do their human design, they can do their MBTI. I recommend doing all of that stuff.
Mhm.
The more that you know about yourself, the more you can just see your intrinsic value and know your purpose. And then there's going to be other things from there where you're going to be living in proving your self-worth by cutting out unhealthy relationships, by eating a better diet, understanding that there's a difference between self-love and self-acceptance is essential to this process. Self-acceptance is, okay, so what? I smoke cigarettes. That's what I do. If you don't like it, get out my car. But self-love is like, you know what? I love myself so much that I drink enough water. I cut out my bad habits. I exercise. I eat the right food. I live a life going after my dreams, so on and so forth. So just by putting those types of things into action will help to build a natural amount of confidence, which is going to help your sense of self-worth evolve, and you're not going to put up with unhealthy relationships in that space.
Got it. And that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. Okay. What is the best part of your life right now?
The best part of my life right now is my marriage.
Okay.
My marriage is the best part of my life right now. Over that, which is better than all things, always, is my connection and relationship with and to source first. But that goes without saying, because that's my whole reason for being here on earth. Yet I know that many people don't have that. I have the greatest faith in surrenderance unto source, and I'm so grateful for its design, even though source gets on my nerves sometimes with the way that it chooses to tell its stories. I'm still very grateful for source and the beautiful design, the sacred geometry of life, and my relationship with and to source, and that source even works through and actualizes itself through me. And then second to that, right now, the most beautiful part of my life in the 3D as well as the spiritual realm is my marriage.
That's wonderful. And that goes right back to your message of love and how that is, gonna save us in these coming years.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And just to close out this section about demons, what would you say was the hardest demon for you to wrangle or get under control?
My two hardest demons were superficiality, vanity, and lust. Superficiality and vanity kind of go hand in hand. But so my demons: superficiality, vanity, lust, and codependency. I feel like codependency, I don't know. I feel like the codependency and superficiality and vanity, I feel like those were harder to deal with, because they could go really undetected. Than lust. For me, lust was hard because who doesn't like sex? I am a sex addict. I love sex. It's my favorite activity on planet Earth. It's the best activity known to mankind. And it's like a sport for me. And I mean, it's the greatest amount of pleasure that you could actually experience. But running into STDs and heartbreak and all of that, it made it a lot easier for me to tame that demon, because there's so much threats with it than codependency and vanity and superficiality.
Got it. Yeah. I'm working on the codependency now and self-worth. And the lust one, I think I had finally came to like my rock bottom, like my first year of college, and then the second year I met my now husband. So me and him have been rocking for 20 years now.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, we've been married.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
We're about to celebrate 7 years married, 20 years together. And
what is his sign and what's yours?
So we're both Aquarius suns. He was born, well, we got married on January 30th. His birthday is January 31st.
That's my birthday.
Okay. We got together on February 1st, and my birthday is February 2nd.
Oh, wow.
We're a year apart.
Oh, wow. That's
And
so profound.
and what's even crazier is like I finally like dove into my own birth chart, and I've like
Mhm.
really been like breaking down, understanding like, okay, all the placements and everything. And then I started looking at his, and
Mhm.
we share a lot of them. Like a lot of our darker energies are the same, like same houses. It's really eerie, but we
Mhm.
also, yeah, it's a whole thing. But yeah,
That's so awesome.
that's my best friend, so I could definitely understand, how once you find the right one, you can make a whole 360, if you find the one that deserves that kind of, that kind of
Yes.
thing. Yeah. Okay. Well, I I only got one more question to ask you,
Okay,
but I
sure.
just wanted to again thank you so much for just taking the time and just to share your energy with me and my audience. I know, you know, it's I'm getting used to this, just being out there and connecting with different people in this space, because I want people to always know that I appreciate and value their time, but
Yes.
also I want I want them to understand it's because I reached out because I feel like your message is just so important
Oh,
to mix in with the message that I'm trying to get out there. Like we all are trying to get people, in the right wavelength that works for them, and trying to help
mhm.
them discover it. So
Right. Absolutely.
Okay. So this last question, which I ask all my guests, is what are your 7 favorite things? So I'm going to list off 7 different things, and I want you to tell me what your favorite is in them. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So your favorite attribute about yourself.
My favorite attribute about myself is my processing of consciousness.
Okay. Your favorite food.
Mm. It's a food that I can't really consume. My favorite, I have a lot. So I'm a foodie. People don't know that about me. I love chocolate cake. I'm a glutton, but I don't eat any of it because my I'm under strict conviction. But shrimp fettuccine,
Okay. Okay. Favorite art form.
abstract art.
Okay. Favorite characteristic in your partner.
Oh, girl. That's a lot. I love my husband's authenticity. And people pointed out, like, we went to the grocery store and someone I knew, a much older woman, she's like in her late 70s. She was like, "Oh, he's really authentic, isn't he?" I'm like, "What? How'd you know?" Like, he's so authentic. There's no lameness. Like, even my series about the lame shit people do,
Mhm.
it has really been sparked because of the conversations between my husband and I. He's just very authentic and it's so sexy. His demeanor, his disposition, his mannerisms, he's just chill. I love that.
Awesome. Okay. Favorite movie.
Oh. I have a lot of favorite movies. I like Interstellar because it gives me an opportunity to travel through the universe. And it's very realistic in that way. But I can't say that that's just like my favoriteest movie. I like Inception, like movies that really make me think. I love Doctor Strange. I would say those types of movies.
Okay. Okay. Your favorite self-care activity.
My favorite self-care activity, maybe facial exercises or giving myself yogurt enemas and douches.
Okay.
I do a lot of self-care stuff. I'm a little scientist over here. I love making little concoctions, and I love how my family never deals with any sicknesses and diseases because I catch them before they come and I can cure anything.
Yep, you the family healer, huh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. And lastly, your favorite musical artist or genre or genre.
My favorite genre of music, I can't listen to it as much as I'd like because it makes me feel way too high, is trip hop music.
Trip hop. Okay. I gotta.
Trip hop. It's the kind of music it usually doesn't have any words. It's music that you'll likely hear in a movie, and it's very eclectic. It's a very eclectic, weird type of a style. Like I love Odessa, Emancipator, Black Mill, but I am a big hip hop fan. I listen to ratchet hip hop. I don't condone it or promote it, but I love Twista. I love Nicki. I am a Barb myself. I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that celebrities be doing to get into their positions, but I definitely love there's a lot of different mainstream music that I like. It gets my blood flowing and also gets me grounded because sometimes I could be a little too up in the sky and in other dimensions. So listening to fuck that bitch, it's like, oh, okay, I'm on planet Earth and here we are.
Yeah. I can definitely relate to that. Definitely. You definitely need some, you know,
Grounding.
some Bone Thugs and Harmony or something. Like you just need
Yeah.
I get it. I definitely get it. Okay. All right. Well, again, thank you so much, Kateria. I so appreciate you. Tell everybody where they can follow you, and please check out her webinars, get the replays because it's definitely going to help you figure out you. So,
Thank you so much, sis. I really do appreciate that. Everyone, you can check out my website, astrologicschool.com. That is ASTROLOGIC school.com. You can send me a message from there. You can check out the testimonials that are there. You could take the different courses that I have. You could follow me on Instagram, Kateriaknows. There are no extra letters or characters. And my name is just Kateriaknows as one word. I do not reach out to you to solicit you for readings. Those be scammers. And you can follow me on YouTube, Kateriaknows, Facebook, Kateriaknows, TikTok, The Mean Astrologer, where I go through roasting all the zodiac signs because y'all are weird.
but I think Aquarius, we're the best though. I have to say.
in this day and age, in this time that we are in, we certainly are. I have to say that. I really I like the growth and the observer perspective that we are able to take. But we got some major backdraws. I really love significant aspects about every single zodiac sign, and then I hate every single zodiac sign too. So
and we're all of them. We're all,
right?
all of them mixed together. That's crazy.
Ain't it? What's your rising
sign? Scorpio.
Oh wow. And what's your moon?
Libra.
Oh wow. What's your husband's moon?
Hold on, I have to look. I got it on my
oh, not a problem.
Let's see. He has a Taurus moon and a Cancer rising.
Oh, okay. That rising really holds things together, and then the y'all moon keeps the intimacy thriving. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, sis. Well, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for what you're doing. This stuff is so important, and I love how you alchemized what you were doing and are aiming to correct it on a deeper level. Very commendable of you to do that, and thank you for being a soldier in this war for the fighting side of goodness, because it's our turn. It's our fucking turn. It's
Absolutely.
the turn of goodness to take over the planet. Like, yo, how dope it is. And we're going to get out of this stage of having to correct everything and having to reveal everything and find out, oh my God, they were raping and eating children. Oh, well, oh my God, we're going to get out of that eventually, where we could just celebrate and rejoice and kumbaya. And yeah, because of the work that you're doing, we're going to get to that utopia. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Thank you.
That's enough game for now. Follow Queen Doja on Facebook and Instagram at The Script Podcast, online at thescriptpodcast.com, and YouTube at rebrandly/thescriptpodcast.com. Stay awesome, blessed, and always on script.